Hello everyone and welcome to another Pokemon Pocket video. Today is something a little bit different. This is not going to be a deck guide or anything like that, but it is going to be potentially offering you a new way to play the game and a way that seemingly a lot of people want to play the game. This is the revered NOEX mode that has kind of been going around. Forgive me, I could not find like the original or like what would maybe be the first post or request for this thing. So I apologize to whoever first sort of posted it or came up with it. I can't find it. But the first time I came across this was on Reddit, where someone sort of brought up a post saying if we queue with a NOEX code, we can sort of create a community push and a sort of a queue to dodge EX players. So if you're wondering what that means, basically there's a lot of people who play this game who don't like playing against EX Pokemon. Personally, I don't really have a problem with it. It's not something I'm yearning for, to play a game without EX Pokemon, or at least without playing against EX Pokemon is probably the key thing. However, if it's something people want and it's something that can be done already in the game without any issues, I don't really see a problem, especially if people enjoy it. And it's been cool to see maybe a surprising push for this and that it's worked so well. So the idea is, it is on a sort of an honor system, right? Like nothing forces you to only play non-EX Pokemon in this queue. However, the idea is if you run into someone and they play an EX Pokemon, you just leave. Because it's a private game, there's no XP, you're not losing anything for losing anyway, like you don't really lose anything for losing anything in this game as it is. And it's just one of those things, some people might queue a deck by accident, or some people are just trolling or whatever. But if this gives you some form of idea of how well this is being upheld so far, I think I played NOEX for like a good 4 hours or so on stream, and I actually ran into one person pretty early on actually who played Articuno EX, and I just left. Outside of that, every single game I played was against full non-EX decks. So if this is something you're interested in, something you want to try out, maybe you can experiment, because it does feel like a different meta. It's not just, oh well, it's just the decks people that don't have EXs in that people play anyway are super popular. You do see some Blaine, you do see some Weezing and Arbok, but there was a lot of stuff that feels a lot more playable. And I'll tell you something, there are a lot of Melmetal fans that are enjoying this format, I'll tell you that for free. I ran into so many Melmetals, and without EX Pokemon, they can be a bit trickier to deal with because there's just not that many normal Pokemon that hit super hard, which can, put a stop to a Melmetal. So regardless, I'll quickly show you how to do it as we take a look here. You just go into your verses, as always. Make sure you have a deck built with no EX Pokemon, or you're just going to get everyone leave against you, so it won't do anything. So if you go into verses and click private match, if you then, in this password section, if you go enter password, and this does matter, by the way, it's NOEX in caps. And I did ask and I did inquire, the caps lock or the full letters in caps, it's important, because if I did, if I took this out and just did this, you wouldn't find a queue because it's wrong. You have to have the NOEX in caps. And then if you queue up, a few seconds later, I think I missed a queue like a couple of times when it wasn't like matching me. But outside of that, I queued like for hours and was getting very consistent games. So that's all you have to do. And as long as you don't have an EX Pokemon and your opponent doesn't have an EX Pokemon, you can play the game with no Pika EX, no Mewtwo EX, no Starmie EX, none of these Pokemon that may or may not annoy you. I was playing it, as I said, because it was just something a little bit different to try, honestly, and it was just kind of fun to just try something a bit different, play a slightly different format, try out some different decks. And I think it's a nice thing to exist that gives players the option to do this out of completely their own desire, right? The game isn't like making you do this, the game isn't like forcing you into this like game mode or doing this or that. It's a completely like player driven thing, and it seems to be successful so far. As I mentioned, I was queuing in like UK daytime, which is either super early in America or super late, depending on if you're awake. And then obviously like evening in sort of APAC region time. And I was getting consistent hits. Like I was just queuing into people kind of like I would normally. So yeah, really interesting format. If you just want to have a look quickly, I did try some weird stuff. I'll let you know, Charizard does not work in this format. Normal Charizard, I tried it, it failed miserably. Poliwrath was very good. I think Poliwrath's where it's at, and that's kind of what I was playing in the most recently. Poliwrath, I played Poliwrath with normal Starmie, and it felt very good. Poliwrath is a bit of a Giga Chad in this. But there's loads of stuff you can do, right? I've been playing Jolteon. I play a lot of non-EX decks on normal ladder anyway, so this is kind of up my street in terms of deck building. But like I play, you can play Jolteon with normal Zapdos, Electrode. There's like Raichu, Magneton's pretty good because again these Pokemon are hard to deal with. We know Alakazam's strong. People were talking about maybe Gengar is better in this format because the non-EX one isn't competing against EX Pokemon, so the health plus damage and the effect could be quite good. You've of course still got options of Gardevoir, Primeape, you've got the ever-dreaded Golem, which I think might be a bit of a powerhouse in this format. Of course, you have Weezing and those shenanigans with maybe Arbok or, let's be honest, anything else. Dragonite seems to be a big hitter in this format as well. But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting. Again, I personally wasn't crying out for a new format. I like the game how it is. I think the game's fairly balanced. However, it's a fun thing to try out. And I think, for me, the more people that know about this, the kind of better it is, right? I think it's just a cool idea, a community-driven idea. And it's not like you have to commit much, right? You just build a deck. If you want to play a couple of games with non-EX, you can do. And if you don't, you don't. It is what it is. So yeah, I just thought it was just a quick video just to let everyone know sort of what's going on and something I sort of got. I found it on Reddit a few days ago, didn't think much of it, but I've seen it pop up a lot. So I thought I would give it a go, and yeah, it was a pretty good time, honestly. So yeah, nothing too crazy, but I just thought I'd let you guys know to try and check it out. Maybe you can let me know what decks you found were good in this format, because I'm streaming this game like 7, maybe 8 hours a day a lot of the time. I'll probably jump into this now and again just to see how things are going on. Of course, we have a lot of stuff coming up, like the events more events are starting constantly. We have the mini set coming up, I believe, in December, and there's plenty of stuff going on in Pokemon. But why not have a cool little format on the side as well if you choose to interact with it? But yeah, that's it. Pretty straightforward, a quick one today. Make sure to check out my other videos on some cool decks. My last video about Bruxish Greninja deck, which is super cool, is also playable in this format because it has no EX Pokemon in it. So yeah, make sure to check those out and let me know how you get on. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time.